After 4 days of blood, sweat, and pain, 8 more teams have been eliminated, including every single chance that APAC had, leaving us with the final 8. The top 8 teams that will compete on the main stage at the Manchester Major, starting from tonight. Also, quick warning, I have 4 hours to get this done before the first quarterfinal begins, so I'm going to try and blitz through this as fast as I can. First up, let's take a quick look at the bracket, which you can see right here. As you can see, we have 3 intra-regional matches from Europe, North America, and Brazil, as well as a cross-regional quarterfinal that could set up the remainder of the bracket quite interestingly. As much as I'm not a fan of intra-regional matches in playoffs, it's better to have them in the quarterfinals than in the grand final. And I'm not the one saying this, it's been backed up by social media. So let us begin with the French Revolution. Team Secret versus Team BDS. This is the first time that this iteration of Team Secret has been on the main stage, and they're going up against a tried and tested org with a slightly revamped lineup. Secret went 3-0 in the group stage, and all of them have a 1.0 rating or higher, with Doom actually having the highest rating of the tournament thus far at 1.41. All of these guys are just playing so goddamn good, and in my opinion, they are the surprise packet of the entire group stage. BDS, on the other hand, took until the final day of groups to actually make their way into the playoffs due to some poor form towards the back end, and they even lost to PSG Talent in the best of 1 stage, but they woke up just in time to beat CAG in a grueling best of 3 before sending Team Bliss home 2-0 on the final day. Yes, that hurts me to say that. Users has just exploded throughout this entire tournament, and Shaiko stepped up just in time for the final game to push BDS over the line and get into playoffs. Despite Secret's phenomenal performance in groups, going 3-0 is no small feat. I'm still picking BDS as the winner purely based on their collective experience, as well as the talent on that team is just way too good. Users, in my opinion, may be the MVP of the entire tournament with how well he's going. And honestly, these guys are just way too good a team to not make it any further than this. If they don't, then Secret are pulling off a goddamn miracle here. Next up, we have the second American Civil War, DarkZero versus M80. Even though M80 doesn't technically have a North American player in the entire lineup. Curiously though, both of these teams actually had this exact same path throughout groups. Won their first round games, stumbled a little bit in the second, pulled some form back into the third, and actually go 2-0 in their respective matches, both against APAC teams. The question is, what can separate these two? This roster is the best it's looked since its inception back at SI23, and Spoit is back on the main stage following his rookie stage in Berlin 2022. Hometown boys of Citizen and Noodle have elevated this org back into relevancy after a very shaky 12 months, and Cameraman's inclusion has stabilized the team following his many years on FaZe Clan, as well as Los. M80 look poised to take this playoff bracket by storm, but they've got to get through more experienced DarkZero first to do that. The potency of this team purely on experience is way too important to ignore. Despite the fact that in their regional matches, DarkZero actually lost out to M80. But I reckon on the main stage, DarkZero should take this one, though it will not be an easy bout. NJR is just way too good right now. Let's not forget, 1v5 against Team Secret, which they lost. You just can't go past that. I reckon DarkZero take the win, but it's going to go to map 3 to do it. That is going to be my prediction for that one. Next up, we have the Brazilian Gauntlet Part 1. Furia versus Team Liquid. On one hand, this looks like a pretty straightforward match. Furia went 3-0 in the group stage, didn't even make it through playoffs. They still have a lot of energy in them, and honestly, these guys thrive on a LAN environment. Their win at SI earlier in the year came from 5 rounds down on map 5. These guys thrive in a situation like this, and you just cannot go past them. But Liquid are no slouches either. They pushed through the play-in stage, knocking G2 down to the lower bracket. They were a little bit sluggish towards the front end of groups, but they were able to pull it back just in time to make it through to the playoffs by beating Team Bleed. These guys are still one of the best teams in Brazil, despite their Stage 1 performance. I still reckon Team Liquid will push Furia to the brink, but Furia still take it out. Though I reckon this is also going to go to a map 3. I just can't go past Furia right now, especially given their run over the last 14 months. They're stupid good on international LAN events. Finally, we have the only cross-regional final in this part of the bracket, Beast Coast versus FaZe Clan. And this one is also, I think, relatively straightforward. And I'm sorry for North American fans, I reckon that you're going to lose 2 NA teams here. Because Beast Coast are going to lose to FaZe Clan. Getting to the main stage for these guys is already huge. Especially given that Hot and Cold and Gunner have been at this stage before, several times. Hot and Cold especially. But FaZe Clan have been at this peak for a lot longer. You just can't go past FaZe Clan right now, especially given runners-up at SI. I still reckon that Beast Coast are going to push it. I don't think they're going to take the win, though. I would love to be wrong in this particular case, but I just don't see it happening. FaZe Clan for me. This will make the first semi-final a battle for the pond. Team BDS versus DarkZero. And that's a tough one to call. Both of these guys had a bit of a form slump throughout groups, but DarkZero made it through to the playoffs quicker than BDS did. 3-1 as opposed to 3-2. Despite that, though, I still reckon the fact that Users and Shaiko have woken up, have finally activated, I don't think DarkZero can get past that. Even with NJL popping off as he does, I still don't think that DarkZero have enough in their tank or enough in their tactics book to get over BDS, and especially the monsters that are Users and Leakafak. I reckon BDS make their way to the grand final for the first time since Yongshaping back in 2022. These guys are on a tear right now, and I don't think anyone can stop them. At least not yet. Finally, for the semifinals, we have the second Brazilian Gauntlet and a rematch from SI earlier in the year, Furia versus FaZe Clan. And I reckon this is going to go the exact same way that SI did, and Furia take it. Purely because their form right now is just way too high of a ceiling for FaZe Clan to get over. Even though FaZe did get close. I don't reckon this is going to be as close, in my opinion. Furia, again, are just way too good right now. Their lineup is stupidly good. And although these guys are both firing in Brazil right now, Furia have the chocolates internationally, whereas FaZe Clan have them domestically. And I still reckon that trend's going to continue. Furia, for me, making it to the grand final. So, for the grand final, that leaves BDS versus Furia. This might actually be the toughest match to call in the entire tournament. Because BDS have found form at the right time, even with their slump. But Furia have been going strong throughout the entire tournament. They have not slumped once. I reckon this might go to map 5, max OT. But I reckon Furia take it. They continue their streak. BDS are absolutely not going to make it easy for them. But I still don't think they have enough in their tactics book to get over Furia. As good as BDS have been, Furia have just been one step higher. You just can't go past them. You just can't ignore the talent that Furia bring to the table. And again, they thrive in environments like this. I don't think there's anything else that can actually beat Furia. Unless BDS can pull something out of their collective hats, it's not going to be enough to take out Furia, in my opinion. Furia go 4 straight when it comes to international LAN events. So, that does it for me for this major. I'll be back one more time within the next couple of weeks to go over the results and give my opinions on what happened. But until then, enjoy the playoffs bracket, and until next time, this is your resident Silverwolf, signing out.